You won't believe this one. My grandpa has lived on his ranch for over 50 years. Tough as iron, steady as stone. But the day the HOA came for him, it wasn't with fines or letters. It was with fake cops, and worse, a canine dog trained to attack. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. It started with Karen, the HOA president. She'd always hated that my grandpa refused to join her association. His land didn't fall under their jurisdiction, but that didn't stop her from trying to muscle him out. She sent letters demanding compliance fees, left voicemail threats about his barn being an eyesore, and even tried to block his driveway once with her SUV. Grandpa didn't flinch. He'd laugh, tip his hat, and go right back to tending his horses. But Karen wasn't used to losing. And when intimidation didn't work, she went for something darker. That's when the black SUV showed up. Out climbed four men dressed in knockoff tactical gear, patches on their vests reading HOA enforcement. They carried radios, batons, even a taser or two. But what chilled me most wasn't them. It was the German Shepherd straining on a leash, barking, teeth snapping. The leader shouted, "By order of the HOA, this property is being seized for non-compliance. Vacate immediately." Grandpa didn't even move from his porch chair. He leaned forward on his cane, eyes steady. "Boys," he said, calm as ever, "you're trespassing. Texas Penal Code 30.05 makes that a crime. You've got 5 seconds to turn around." They laughed. "We don't answer to you, old man." Then Karen's voice rang out from behind them. She'd pulled up, standing smugly by the SUV. "Get him off that porch," she ordered. "And if he resists, let the dog loose." My blood ran cold. The handler unclipped the leash. The German Shepherd lunged straight at my grandpa. Neighbors screamed. Some ran for their phones to record, but what happened next froze everyone in place. The dog skidded to a stop just feet away, tail wagging. Then, to Karen's horror, it ran straight past the fake cops and leapt into my grandpa's arms. The whole yard gasped. Turns out this wasn't some random attack dog. It was Duke, the same canine my grandpa had trained years ago while volunteering with the county sheriff's department. The same dog that had once saved him from a rattlesnake in the pasture. And now, in front of the whole neighborhood, Duke had remembered him. The whole street froze at the sight. That German Shepherd, unleashed with hate in its eyes, had turned soft the moment it saw my grandpa. Karen's smirk fell off her face like a mask slipping. The fake HOA enforcers didn't know what to do. Grandpa scratched Duke behind the ears like no time had passed. "Good boy," he whispered, voice steady but low enough only we nearby could hear. Neighbors started whispering, then shouting. "That's not right," one woman yelled. "They tried to sick a dog on him." Phones were up everywhere, recording. Karen, panicking, waved her arms. "What are you all doing just standing there? Take him down. That barn's a violation, and that old man is trespassing on his own land." Even her fake cops hesitated. One muttered, "Ma'am, the dog isn't following." Karen snapped back, "Then make him." Grandpa finally stood. He wasn't a frail old man in that moment. He was the same man who'd raised me, the one who fought for everything he had, the one who taught me that real strength didn't come from fists, but from never backing down. He tapped his cane on the porch and pointed squarely at the men in their phony uniforms. "You boys crossed a line," he said, voice carrying across the yard. "Ordering a dog to attack? That's animal cruelty under Texas Penal Code 42.092. And setting him on me? That's assault with a deadly weapon. You think those radios and patches make you lawmen? They make you criminals." The handler shifted nervously. Duke growled at his feet, ears flat, like he'd already chosen a side. But Karen wasn't done. "Shut him up," she screamed. "You work for me." That was her mistake. Those words, caught on every neighbor's phone, shattered the illusion. These weren't officers. They weren't even volunteers. They were thugs she paid to play dress up, and everyone watching knew it now. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. One of the fake cops, the one clutching a crowbar, finally stepped forward. "Old man, last chance. Move, or I move you." Grandpa didn't flinch. He just raised his hand slowly, not in fear, but in command. Duke responded instantly. With a sharp bark, the dog leapt, not at my grandpa, but at the thug with the crowbar. The man went sprawling into the dirt, weapon flying from his hands. The crowd erupted, cheers, gasps, phones flashing like paparazzi. Karen screamed, "Call it off! Call it off!" But there was no stopping it now. Duke stood guard in front of my grandpa, hackles raised, growling at the other enforcers who suddenly weren't so eager to advance. And just then, the sound of sirens cut through the chaos. 2 sheriff cruisers barreled down the road, lights flashing. The real law had arrived. The cruisers skidded to a halt. gravel flying under the tires. Real deputies stepped out, hands resting on their holsters, eyes narrowing at the sight before them. My grandpa, standing tall with Duke at his side, Karen screaming in the middle of the street, and a handful of imposters in knockoff uniforms. One deputy barked, "What in the hell is going on here?" Before Karen could twist her story, half the neighborhood shouted at once, "They sicked a dog on him! They're not real cops, it's all on video." Phones lifted higher, catching every second. Karen tried to regain control. "Officers, arrest that man," she shrieked, pointing at Grandpa. "He's dangerous. He attacked my compliance team." The deputies didn't even blink at her theatrics. One of them walked straight to the supposed handler. "Badge number?" he demanded. The man stammered. The deputy yanked the fake patch right off his vest. "Thought so. Impersonating an officer. Felony charge under Texas Penal Code 37.112. You just bought yourself a long stay in county." The imposters wilted instantly, hands going up one by one. But Duke didn't move. He stayed planted by Grandpa's side, steady and protective, as if he'd been waiting his whole life for this reunion. Grandpa knelt slowly, resting his weathered hand on the shepherd's head. "Easy, boy. It's all right now." His voice cracked, but it carried all the weight of memory. The deputy who'd been scanning Duke's tag froze. He leaned closer, radioing dispatch. After a pause, he turned back, eyes wide. "Sir, this dog isn't just a canine. He's your dog." The crowd went silent. Grandpa blinked. "Say again?" "Duke was military before he was reassigned," the deputy explained. "Records show he was handled by a Sergeant Franklin Ward, retired, presumed missing after an IED blast overseas." My grandpa's cane slipped in his grip. His knees buckled, but Duke pressed against him, holding him steady. Tears welled in his eyes. "They told me you were gone," he whispered into the dog's fur. "All this time, I thought I lost you." Duke let out a low, mournful whine, then nuzzled into Grandpa's chest like he'd never left. The crowd, hardened neighbors, angry parents, even kids, fell quiet. Some wiped at their eyes, phones lowered. Nobody cared about the HOA anymore. They were watching something deeper. Two old warriors reunited by chance after years of loss. Karen screeched, "This is ridiculous. That mutt is mine. He was on my payroll." The deputy turned to her coldly. "Lady, you're done. You ordered a dog to attack a veteran, and you tried to pass off criminals as cops. You'll be lucky if you walk away without federal charges." Karen's face drained of color as the cuffs clicked around her wrists. Meanwhile, Grandpa just sat in the grass with Duke's head in his lap, tears streaming freely, whispering over and over, "I thought I lost you, boy, but you never forgot me." And that's when the neighborhood saw it too. This wasn't just a story about a cruel HOA president or some fake cops. It was about loyalty that no rule book, no badge, no passage of time could ever erase. And everyone there, hardened deputies, tearful parents, even strangers, walked away changed forever. Because sometimes the strongest justice doesn't come from a courtroom. It comes from love that refuses to die.